Alright, so today's episode we're going to be changing this middle section of the car. I recently bought it, got a deep discount, and of course the dealer already put nice scratches on it. So before I get the car PPF'd, I'm actually going to replace this piece. It's actually a really cheap piece. I paid $45 for it shipped directly from Toyota. Sorry, I've got a Honda as well. And it looks like it's going to be pretty easy to remove. So I've seen a lot of videos online. They all talk about adding a lip to this. None of them actually talk about actually replacing these items. So I'm going to do a little tutorial on how to replace these items. From what I've seen, you have to remove the side pieces first. So this side, other side, and then you can remove the middle one. There might be some interesting clips up in this section that are tough to get to, so we'll see how that goes. Kind of goes without saying, but first step is obviously jacked up the car. I really only did one side. Looks pretty good. I'm using one of these cool jack pads. I'll show you what they look like here shortly. But they fit right into the OEM lift point so you don't mess it up. They were cheap. They were like $10 on Amazon. And now I'm starting to remove these pieces. So super easy to remove these corner pieces so far. Literally pull them out. So I think that might be it for this side. Oh, there's one more here. These are coming off pretty easily. The front, however, have what looks like to be some Torx. So I'm gonna figure out what size that is, and I'll put it in the description here on the video when I figure out what size this is. All right, so next step. So I pulled all those little pins out here. The screws, the center section has screws. And then really the side, you just pry it out. You just kind of wiggle it around and it'll pry it out. I already did the other side, but just to kind of give you an idea of what that looks like. You just have to wiggle it out and eventually it comes out. I am seeing that this center section is going to be a little bit tougher because, as mentioned, there's some clips back here that are harder to get in. So I'm going to try to reach around the back underneath this and see if I can pop those out and see how that goes. Turns out I ended up having to pull the whole bumper because the center one is virtually impossible to get to. The good news is the whole bumper comes off pretty easily. Literally, it's a bunch of screws here, 2 on the side, actually 3, 1, 2, 3, and then just the bottom rivets on the bottom. So literally, I didn't even jack up the car. I was able to squeeze my hand through there, get these off. Just lift this. You can see there's one there. Yeah, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. Just wiggle it out. It comes out. And now I'm able to finally access these tabs down here so that we can take that front lip out. Front center section. All in all, just be careful. Do it slowly. You don't need any special tools, anything. I did this by myself, so just make sure you get a nice soft mat on the bottom so you can lay the bumper down. Other than that, easy peasy, back to it. Because I am planning to track the car, I decided to use this and cover up some of the grills here to protect the radiators, protect the intercoolers. Looks like the condensers up front. I'm not sure if there's a transmission cooler or not in this car, at least in the front, but I definitely want to protect that from the stones, rocks, pieces of tire that get flung up on the track. So I just use that material, cut it to size, use some zip ties, and this should do enough, at least to protect them from all the big rocks. I know on the new Corvette it's a big issue because they don't even have these grills, so it's pretty wide open, meaning they don't even have the stock grills here. So the stock grills will protect you from really big rocks, but small pebbles from cars going off on the track with really sticky tires will pick up everything and, at the very least, give you a nice dent in your radiators. So while we're out here, it's pretty cool. That's the duct for one of the coolers on the side. This is the duct for the brake that goes into the brakes. That's the main one for the heat exchanger radiator. I think that's a condenser, but it could be an oil cooler for the transmission. And then same on this side, brake duct, cooler, ducting. So pretty neat stuff. Cool. So I'm just gonna dry this up, and then there's a lot of dirt in there. Dry this up and start putting that bumper back together.
2,000 years later.
So final clip here for the A90 Supra bumper removal and installation, as well as the lips. So I haven't installed the lips yet. They literally just click in at this point. I will say that now that I reinstalled the bumper, I did come across some issues. Now I don't know if it's because I installed my grills and that made it more difficult to mate the surfaces on the back end. You can kind of see them there behind the OEM grill. But it was tough to line up these corners here. I was getting a big gap here. I was getting a big gap here. So there was a lot of back and forth to try to line them up perfectly. I did also struggle with lining up these corners here perfectly. Again, it was a lot of trial and error. It's not hard, just time consuming to make sure they're perfectly flat, not wiki wonky on one side to the other. Not sure that's really how you say that, but that was the difficulty. I'm pretty happy with the results right now. It's pretty flat, pretty flush. I don't think these cars are built with great tolerances on these corners here. I saw a lot of other cars, they have similar gaps here. This doesn't usually line up perfectly either. Same with this side. This is pretty close, and honestly, only when you see it up this close do you really notice. I might still play around with this little corner here. It sticks out just a little bit. Again, it's just with playing around with the screws and tweaking them here and there, but overall, this was the most important one. There was like a big gap here. Got rid of that. Looks like it used to. And yeah, about to give this car a quick polish and get the front end PPF'd. We'll report on how that looks, but I'm getting it professionally done, and they're going to be able to tuck in the corners so that it's pretty much seamless. These guys do Corvettes, McLarens, Lamborghinis, all high-end stuff, so it should be pretty good work. And after that, I'll be excited to really use this car more on a daily basis now that the weather's turning for the better, and do some track days here in a couple weeks. All right, catch you guys on the next episode here.